It's pick a strat. You can make a lot of money in real estate with all the strategies out there. And the question is what's going to best serve you to why you're getting into real estate, right? So oftentimes when people come to us and want our help and support and want to be a part of our community, they're desiring to create residual income on a consistent basis versus, say, somebody who wants to make a lot of money one time, real quick, would be flipping or even possibly wholesaling, right? Those are two fast, active methods of making a lot of cash quickly versus the buy and hold model for cash flow. It's a long-term play. It's a play that you get to reap rewards monthly, which means you don't get the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in 1 year. You get thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on residual income month after month for the whole year, right? So it's a deferred play. It's the slow churn play. However, in my opinion, our buy and hold model also has upside. When you become a better investor, you can go into more advanced strategies in the buy and hold model. Things like the BRRRR strategy, where you buy, rehab, rent it, refinance it, and then repeat it, which then allows you to take limited capital and use it over and over again when you're skilled at it. I mean, these are ways where you and I are both invested, bought property at a discount because we knew what a good deal looked like, and we created it. We rehabbed it to the function and the need it was supposed to be for the point of renting it out, then refinanced it far beyond all the money we were in, pulled out our cash, and sometimes even more. I know you and I both have experienced excess on the refinance, which meant we had the same, if not more money to play on the next deal. And we can scale a portfolio very quickly with that model. I also like to say, if you got that flip bug, well, you might want to play with the BRRRR strategy versus just flipping. Because one of the things I often hear from my flipper friends, and you and I both know very prominent flippers in Hawaii that are successful, some are on TV now. The one thing that they always bring up when we catch up and we talk story is, I wish I held the property longer. I wish I held it. Because real estate always ends up going up over time. And when you can time the market, you can be pretty well off. So if you got that flip itch, why not play with the BRRRR strategy? And you're looking at smaller price points than most flip properties in, say, Hawaii, where you're averaging a median home is $1 million. Well, you could do a BRRRR in a rental market for all in 100,000, which is still less than what you would have needed as a down payment if you bought a regular house as a rental in Hawaii, right? So there's so many ways to get you there. We just like what we do because we see there's so many options. We love options in what we do. It's the best position to be, is to have options. When you're stuck with flipping is a one exit strategy. It's, I buy it at a discount, I rehab it within budget, and I sell for a massive profit. But if I don't sell, then what? It's not going to work as a rental most often because you're priced out of a rental market on these flips that people are looking to do. Right? $1 million house in Hawaii rents for, on average, $4,000 to $5,000. That doesn't even break even on your mortgage payment. So what is your option?
Makes sense.
There isn't much.
Yeah, like you mentioned, we have friends that flip and do all these other different strategies. What was it about rentals, long-term rentals specifically, that attracted you versus some of these other strategies?
Well, it wasn't my idea. Anybody who knows my story, it was my wife's idea. She came up with this method because she realizes that we need the residual for what we were wanting, and what we wanted was for us to be able to have the option to retire early when we first started, and that meant having consistent streams of income coming in, cash flow, right? So flipping and wholesaling did not make sense for us. Syndication was not on the docket because you are a minority owner, you're a limited partner. Right? We didn't have control over the deal and the time frame and how it panned out. We really were trusting the general partners that they were going to do it, which didn't make sense to us. Plus, your buying is often on the higher side, where we're like, well, we could buy 2 or 3 houses with the down payment at that price point and control it. Right? So there's that control aspect. But we wanted to replace our income at some level. Flipping could do it, but I'd have to consistently flip and consistently be profitable. It was too risky for her. Wholesaling was a lot of work, a lot of things that I weren't willing to do, and quite frankly, I was never interested in it. So I just jumped on board with her and said, let's go buy rental properties in rental markets that made sense. And we started small and slowly grew our portfolio to over 90 doors and both be able to retire our
Yeah.
jobs.
And so what I thought was interesting was when you said, you picked that route and because you guys wanted to retire early, right? So a lot of people, their definition of retiring early is not being tied down to their own job, right? Some people say they just want to take charge of their own life and make income another way. It's their way of making income. And a lot of folks pick flipping or wholesaling, right? To replace their income. And in their sense, they've retired from a W-2, right? And so what is the difference between that version of retirement, of not having a boss, so to speak, and you're working for somebody else instead of themselves, versus your definition of retirement and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the active side. And mind you, what we do has a level of activity. Everything in life has a required active level, so you're never really completely passive, right? So in the flipping side, it's a very active role. We looked at it as like we're stepping into a job. Like my job was to find deals that made sense, that would create the spread where when I sell, I'd make a large sum of money, and that large sum of money should carry me over for the year, but that's only for a year if I hit it. So there's this continuation of needing to do this over and over and over because there's no residual, right? It's a one-time payout. So Jazz saw it as more of an active, I'm buying into a job type of investment strategy, right? And oftentimes people use the flip to build up capital so they can go buy and hold out of state, which we rarely ever see that transition happen. Why? Because they get so good at it and they get caught up with the making of a lot of money quick that they just keep redoing that strategy, which isn't wrong. They're finding success there, but they're also building a business now, right? And on the portfolio side, you're building a business here as well. And a lot of it requires your ability to lead and leverage teams. So there's less activity for me where I can look for the who's. I like Dan Sullivan's book, Who Not How. I'm looking for the who's who are experts in property management, in a real estate agent, in a lender, an insurance provider, in a general contractor, in subcontractors, in legal, right? And I can leverage them as resources so I can now span more deals all at once versus being that active flipper where oftentimes they want to touch, see, feel, and manage it on site while I only can be at one property at one time versus the ability to leverage an entire team. That's where that more passive role comes into play because I just got to make a few phone calls and it gets done. I don't need to drive to Home Depot to pick up supplies because the crew needs it on project and they know they can rely on me to gather it, right? I don't need to go down to DPP. I don't need to do all these things because I got who's in place, which then gives me the freedom of my time back. So while one is doing maybe one flip by themselves, not saying it's wrong, not here to judge, you're also tied to that one deal. And a lot of your time is consumed in that one deal. And I take that same amount of time and I'm in 100 deals.
Makes sense.
Scalability is on this side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to play a little devil's advocate here because I know some of these flippers that are very successful, and I can argue that they do have who's, right? They're not involved in day-to-day and everything like that. What do you say to those people who have that team, just like you do, who handle the permitting again at DPP, who handle let me make a quick run to Home Depot to pick up some more supplies for the crew? There are investors that have that and they don't have to be actively involved.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've created a successful business. They're a business owner now, and they're running it as a business, which means they can be very profitable. And if they don't do another deal, their business goes under. Versus the buy and hold side is you're buying and holding, you're keeping the asset while still making income. I'm making it in 4 pillars. They're making it on the sale. I'm making it in 4 pillars. I get cash flow, appreciation, depreciation, and debt paid out. So even if crap hit the fan on my portfolio, I have options. I want options. I never want to be tied to one exit, and one exit, oftentimes with the more active role, is sell and sell for a profit. You and I both know it's not always the case on flips, where all it takes is a market correction in a sense of interest rates doubling. Now, what you thought you were going to make 6 figures on means you're breaking even at best if you can get somebody to buy today because they are scared rates just doubled. And what if it keeps going up and now your buyer pool is drying up? Versus our side, okay, that affects us on future purchases, but if I owned it for 5 years, I'm still locked in on the 30-year fix at 4%, 3%. Oh, and I'm cash flowing because people are going to pay rent, because when they can't buy a house, guess where they move to?
A rental.
A rental. So I have a lot of activity with this model where, again, it provides me options. I'm not stressing about variables I don't control, like interest rates, like the Fed raising or cutting it, whatever. It does it great. Either way, I'll still find ways to create deals and to create cash flow. And then I sit on it. Because when's the best time to buy real estate? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Now. And then you buy real estate and wait. That is the fundamental base of our method of investing. Is we buy it and wait. And while we're waiting, we're making cash flow.
Yep. Makes perfect sense. And so to recap, what your main point, right, was, yeah, sure, flippers could have their own team where they're managing everything the day-to-day. It could be semi-passive, just like how you have your business. But the main difference is that once they stop that active form of investing, no more income. Now they got to let go of all their project manager, their contractors, all those people are no longer have a job, basically, because you stop flipping. Whereas for you, you're hiring independent contractors, essentially, like realtors, wholesalers. They don't need your active form of income. It's on a per deal basis. And if you decide to stop doing deals, you still have your portfolio you're earning that passive income from, because you already put in that active effort to position it to be that way. And so for those of you guys listening and like kind of still confused about the difference, it's like, once you stop flipping or you stop wholesaling or do anything in some sort of active form of investing, your income stops. That's it. And that's what he was talking about earlier. That's like, you're giving yourself another job. Whereas investing in passive cash flowing rental properties, it's like, yeah, you have to do a little bit of work, just like flipping, to get the deal and stabilize that property. But once it's stabilized, it's done, right? And so that's the beauty of what we do here. It's the part where you just get to coast afterwards, right? And then if you want to continue to build using the BRRRR strategy, recycling the same capital to buy the second, the third, fourth, even the 11th, as we've seen in our own community, using the same capital, scaling up to over $1 million in portfolio value in less than 12 months. That's the beauty of the game of what we do here at WNN. And so,
and if you, I want to jump in on this too, because just think of that growth that Sean experienced in 1 year by scaling to 11 properties, right? And say they're all $100,000 property. And we've seen over the last, I'd say 5, 6, 7 years, our average appreciation we capture in our market we're in is about 10% year over year. You could safely say he's gaining $100,000 in appreciation value year over year for just holding it. Sometimes that's as much as a flipper is looking to make on one deal in 1 year. But by holding it, he's captured it while still getting that residual cash flow. And if it does play out like that for the next 2 to 5 years, let's go 5 years out, he's going to have at least $500,000 in appreciation equity by simply being able to hold it, not including the debt pay down, the tax benefits, and the cash flow included. Right? So there is that power in having those multiple sources of benefits versus I need to sell and make a lot of money once.
Yep, that makes perfect sense.